Today is Wednesday. I'm thinking about it. Give me a second. April 9th, 2025. I would like to mark the dates on these. Today I'm going to have a little switch up. Something came up, right? I tell you guys that all the time. Something comes up and it switches up how I'm thinking about doing things and presenting it, right? Because I'm trying to get us all on the same page. When I say all on the same page is same page, our species. Our species is in trouble, and we got to get on the same page. Hold up. Let me do this real quick. Community chat. Forgot I got to do this because I got a lot of haters. All right. I never thought I was going to have any haters, right? But I do. All right. People hate what I say. But I'm going to say it anyways. So, today what I'm going to talk about is how to prove that Yeshua, when I say Yeshua, I don't mean this in a religious manner. For those of you who are not religious, because I'm trying to change how I'm presenting what I'm saying so that we all can digest the same information, like getting the same piece of that same pie, but from a different angle, right? From a different angle. But it's the same pie. And if we don't get on the same page of that pie, we ain't going to make it as a species, and we all can see that happening right now. You guys know I talk to you guys about health and wellness, try to get our body, our minds, everything operating right so that we can handle the bombardment that we face in everyday life. Oh my God, I'm in Arizona and it's hot out here. Give me 1 second. Heat's starting to come up. So, very long story short is, Yeshua comes from outside of this machine. And Yeshua is a representation of what we understand as Creator, as God. As everybody has a different way to say the same thing. En Spanish le decimos Dios, ¿verdad? Los que somos mexicanos o los que somos latinos en nuestro idioma. So, but we're saying the same thing. And when we say God, or we say Creator, I just met somebody who's a native, just native. I don't want to say Native American, but it's a native, right? And his traditions are different, and we've been talking for the past couple of days, and I realized that I've excluded that whole community, which is vital community because they're the ones who started with the natural nature of the earth for our well-being. And as I was going through the gospel of peace, I've been able to make connections to the Native Americans. I'm going to go with Native Americans instead of natives. Native Americans, switch that up so it makes sense what I'm saying. The way the Native Americans practiced the good nature of their brothers and their sisters and the brotherhood and how they took care of the earth, and you take care of the water and the water will take care of you, and the spirit of the water, right? The spirit of the trees, meaning you respect that and it will respect you. It'll give you what you need when you need it because you gave to it. And because I've been talking to this gentleman, his name's Felix, and he talked to me about his traditions and how I don't respect, or not I don't respect, I don't know his angle, right? Which I do know their angle, but I realize I've left them excluded out. I've been so harping on Christians and Catholics for following Yahweh, not recognizing Yahweh is not Yeshua's way. Yahweh is genocidal. It shows in his behavior, and people follow that, and I do not. I follow Yeshua's way. And in the gospel of peace, Yeshua's way is there, and I'm going to present just two little pieces in one little part that shows how the gospels that we have, and don't get me wrong, I respect the Bible because Yeshua's way would not be able to get in there, and that's the way of love, the way of balance, the way of harmony, right? So I'm not creating any disrespect. I don't want people to think I am disrespecting what's important to them, because it's also important to me. I just want to make sure that we all cohesively get on the same page as a species, as mankind, because we're all over the place. And organized criminals, organized crime, The word is in the title, organized. We, the people, are disorganized. We are not organized. We got to get organized. And that's what I'm trying to do right here. Help organize us. Organize our bodies, organize our minds, and then organize our communication, how we communicate with one another on the principle of what we understand is creator, is what we understand is God. And I'm going to do it showing Yeshua's way. And Yeshua's way in the gospel of peace is going to irritate Christians and Catholics because they're so used to Yahweh's way, the Canaanites' way of control and domination and fear and animal sacrifice. And it's just, it's not Yeshua's way. And I found a chapter today that related to the whole thing is, but I found one specifically. In the Gospel of Peace, I was able to find how it spoke about the Native American traditions without saying Native American. It's just Yeshua's way happens to be Native Americans' traditions. Now, how is that, right? It's because Yeshua's way has been shown throughout history, but Yeshua came to solidify it through his last sacrifice, so that we can make it through what it is, this machine. For those of you who don't know, my name is Angelic. I speak about that we are in a machine, and this machine lives off of pain and suffering. And if we don't stop that pain and suffering, this machine wins. This machine wins. And this machine uses something called nanobiotechnology. It's laced in all of our food. It's right now laced in all of our bodies. On my YouTube channel, you can see, if you go scroll down, you're able to see this tech come out of my body. I show pictures, and then I give information on how I learned from Tony Pantalleresco how to break down this technology that's in our bodies. And it happened just to make me just a stronger individual, and that's why I share with you guys how I've been able to improve, being that I'm going to be 52 this year, right? And so what was my greatest hell, because I was living through hell, this tech almost killed me a couple of times, crushing my organs, because it's active in my body, and it's active in a lot of people's bodies, and they don't know what's going on. So I talk about that there in my YouTube channel. But now I've been going to the point where, because I've been able to correct and help others learn how to correct themselves, as far as this tech breaking down their bodies, now moving on into, we have to get on the same page as Yeshua's way, and that's the way of peace. The gospel of peace is very Native American in its sound and its language. A couple of words that is going to irritate Catholics and Christians. It's because we're not used to it, but we need to get used to it because they're cohesive, they're balanced, they're the way they're supposed to be. Not because I say so, it's because our heart feels so. Truth doesn't need to be explained, doesn't need to be justified. It's resonated in the heart. We feel it, we align with it. And so, because we're not familiar with the gospel of peace, Christians, Catholics, general public, we can't hear Yeshua's words lost in the mix. So I pulled two of the statements that's in just this small chapter. What do we got? The Gospel of Peace, Book 3, Part 3. I pulled out some links, not links, what are they called? Minute marks. So minute marks, so you can just go right to the minute mark and see what it is I'm talking about. But they're Yeshua's words spoken first in the Gospel of Peace and then put in Isaiah later in the Bible. And why does that matter? Because if we're going to be using the Bible, right, we're going to be using the Bible because it has Yeshua's way in here through his words, right? And the people he taught, his disciples. Because it's in here, we can reference the gospel of peace to Yeshua's words. When it's actually backwards. Yeshua's words were left out of the Bible because Canaanites run and operate and manage our world, our experience that we have in this machine. And when I say that, I'm saying it's satanic in its nature. Canaanites are satanic in their nature. I'm going to tell you guys a story at the end of this, so you can see where I get my experience from, right? Because I only speak from experience. I don't speak and say what I'm saying because somebody told me. I say because I've had a life experience that organized my ass into finding what is going on, what is happening, what kind of world are we in, right? So in this gospel of peace, we have a reference that is also in Isaiah. So in Isaiah 44, verse 6, it is, I am the first, I also am the last. That's actually in the gospel of peace, right? And it's at the 18-minute mark. Now, and it's in book 3, part 3. I'll be putting a link right there. Why does that matter? Because if it says it in the gospel of peace, and it also says it in Isaiah, it's because a piece of the gospel of peace was put into the book that's been designed and organized and put together and socially engineered by Canaanites so that we're misled and redirected from the true words of what Yeshua had to say. Because when he speaks here in the Gospel of Peace, Book 3, Part 3, he's using words, like I said, Christians and Catholics are going to get uncomfortable, but it's just facts and it's balanced. It's Heavenly Father, Earthly Mother. And now that sounds very Native American because Native Americans were taught this in their origins and they kept the tradition. That's why. He uses the word the Creator. He uses the word the holy angels. And when I say he, I'm talking about Yeshua. Because this is Yeshua's way of the Essenes. This is the Essenes' gospel of peace. The Essenes are healers. Yeshua is a healer, and what he taught was you must heal and you must care for your temple and care for others in the same way. And peace will reign if you learn to have peace. It wasn't of war, right? And so the world we have in here is of war because we were in times of war that are consistent, have been consistent because it's run by Canaanites. Yeshua came up against Canaanites. Canaanites are satanic in their nature. They worship Lucifer and they practice witchcraft. That behavior is in every culture and we have to catch it by its behavior. It's in every language and we have to catch it by its behavior. It's in every tradition and we have to catch it by its behavior because they hide behind the people. And then the people get defensive against the other people and then they got us fighting their wars that they instigated and created because this machine lives off of quantum annealing, meaning suffering and pain. Quantum annealing is the language that's used for these D-wave machines, which are AI machines that power themselves off of the lowest point of vibration. When you have the lowest point of vibration in our reality, it's called pain and suffering. Pain and extreme suffering. The more suffering, the more power this machine has for itself. So, in Isaiah, which one did I just read to you guys? I put two of them on here. Give me 1 second. I did Isaiah 44, verse 6. I am the first, I also am the last. You'll hear that in the Gospel of Peace, and you find that in Isaiah. Another one, in the Gospel of Peace, it says, woe unto them who call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. But yet again, you find it in Isaiah 5, verse 20. Isaiah 5, verse 20. I'll be posting these. Writing them in the description so you can go back and reference for yourself. When we hear the rest of the Gospel of Peace in Book 3, Part 3, you hear Native American traditions. And if it wasn't for this man that I've been speaking to these past 2 days, who can hold an incredible conversation, who makes me think, puts me to the side and makes me ponder. I haven't met somebody like that. In fact, I haven't met somebody like that. That's a first. It made me realize I don't have the Native American tradition in here because I have feared the Native American tradition because of the experience that I had, right? And because I've had this experience, I just put that to the side and didn't realize that I left it to the side until I met this man. This man's name is Felix, right? His name's Felix. He's an ex-Navy SEAL, and he owns an MMA fight gym in San Diego. Just to give you a state of mind of this person that I'm speaking to, right? And I didn't realize that I had pushed the Native American tradition to the side. And I didn't even realize that the words of the Native Americans are in the gospel of peace because they learned from this. This is what I'm saying. It's all connected. We're all interconnected with the right thing to do from the heart, because the law is on the heart. It's not Moses's law that's in a book that was tried and failed because the people kept doing what they were doing. And that is, I don't like calling it sin because that's not a strong enough word. They were burning babies alive to fallen creature kind, to fallen angels. You don't burn babies alive because that's not natural to the nature of mankind, because these are creature kind they were up against. So in speaking of Felix and putting this all together and having to go back and be like, well, how did I leave all of these Native American cultures and traditions to the side? It's because I met a Native American who was a prominent individual, right? Prominent individual in his community. And it was in San Diego, and I was introduced to him. A very long story short, I wanted to learn from the Native Americans because I know they have great wisdom to offer, right? I knew that then. And this is way back. This is before I recognized that there's a presence of God, and I'll begin to say creator, right? And that there is his messenger, his son of man, who came here to express that in the time of, say, 2,000 years back. But before then, we go further back. We have Quetzalcoatl, who came to teach the native people, came to instruct them. And they lived in impeccable, high quality of life, fruitful lives. And it was beautiful until it became ugly and diseased with the same ugliness and disease that we have now happening, and we're all beginning to see now in our cultures that we have here just in the United States. And this Satanism, because that's what it is, it's a satanic order, a satanic behavior, got the Aztecs. I'm gonna use the Aztecs because that's what I'm closest to as far as my culture and what I know. I'm of Mexican descent, Sinaloa, and I'm just keeping it short and brief. If the Aztecs could have had such an elevated culture in growing food and cleanliness and hygiene, right? And then it goes to this depravity where they're ripping the hearts out of man, right? And eating it. Well, that's the same Canaanite behavior that we have infiltrating on the stage right now. And it's trying to once again rise to power, because it's in positions of power, and it's these political leaders, let's call it like that, in religion, and political leaders in our governments that are worldwide, that are satanic in this behavior. And it's not the people. We the people are not this way. We the people are not these creatures. That is not natural to our nature, and we don't feel it that is right. We don't need it written down and look at it up in the law and see, is this right, is this wrong? It is wrong. But yet they have the control and the position to say this is how it's going to be. And that's what it was then. So if we have information coming from the outside into this machine, we need it. And it's been given to us through our cultures, through our different lifetimes, to get to the point where we are here now, looking back and recognizing the patterns of information, because that's what it is, a pattern. And we have to follow that pattern, follow that lead, so we have a lead that unites us, that unifies us, because we are not unified. And it's on purpose. Because once the people become unified, their hearts become unified, they begin to feel and do what is right. And they fight with the mind. And why do we fight with the mind? Because it's something that is not us infiltrating our minds. And we have to have the will to break it and to do the right thing. Because the law is in our heart. And it states that in book 3, part 3, Gospel of Peace. The law is in the heart, not in a book. So this Native American, going back to that story, right? I was so naive that I just always put my heart on the table, all my cards out in life, not just with this individual. But looking back, I see how I was like this all the time. And now I'm not. Now I'm safeguarded. Now I got a barrier, you know. I got boundaries to protect myself. Because I was so open-hearted, so giving, so caring, that I couldn't see what was coming at me to take something from me that is life-altering and life-changing, right? Life-altering and life-changing. And this was on multiple scales that I had to learn this through multiple pains of experience. So when I'm coming at you, I'm telling you from personal experience. So when I'm going to this, I don't know if he was a chief. I can't remember what his position was, but it was a high position, right? As he's listening to my story, because I always had some kind of problem, right? I didn't know, like I said, there was God and his angels. I didn't know. Creator and his angels. I knew Yeshua was a man who somebody changed his name, and I never got onto it till now. Showing you the frame of mind I had when I went to this person. My naivety, you know, my not knowing, my not having my guard up. I didn't know what this man practiced, but in the end, it was witchcraft. And he asked to pray over me. And when he did, I didn't recognize it till I left, but I was like, something just happened. Like, something is different. And these are my experiences that I've had to let me know fucking demons are real. Like, for real, right? This is one of my many stories of my life to know demons are real. Not just because I seen them with my eyes, not just because my grandma was possessed by multiple demons, right? Multiple personalities. But I've had a lot of experiences, and then how to get them out, and then how do they feel inside, and how do they fuck with the mind, and how you have to fight and battle your own mind to keep yourself from doing what you feel, and you know that feeling ain't fucking yours. So here was the crazy thing, is when I meet this man, before he prayed for me, right? Prayed over me, he asked if he could pray over me. Meet him at Starbucks, we're talking, and before I go into that Starbucks, I'm trying to remember the story because I had to go back and think about all the details that led me up to, like, something's going on and I don't know what it is, but now looking back, I know exactly what's happening, right? As I go into the Starbucks, I see this big old crow, like a big crow, not a little crow, just like, boop, land right there, like right in front of me before I go inside. And that's not typical. Birds don't like people. They don't come up to people, right? People come up to birds and then birds leave. That's the usual, right? That's the usual. So when this bird comes up and flies to me and it's so big, I'm just like, step back. Obviously, I'm going to remember that, right? And then I go in and we're talking at Starbucks. And as we get out of Starbucks, because he says, let's go for a walk. We go for this little walk, right? And as we go for a walk, we're going around the corner from the Starbucks. We're no longer at the Starbucks no more. And then, boom, this crow. Excuse my language. I got to say it the way I feel it. This fucking crow, right? This fucking crow, it's the same fucking crow because it's so big. Comes and lands again right next to me and him. And I'm just like, what? What? And I'm watching that crow just stay right fucking there. And I'm listening to this man, and I'm trying to learn knowledge, right? Because that's what I want. I want to know what the native people know. And me talking about this man doesn't mean it's all native people. What I had to learn was there's a lot of fucking witchcraft in our world, and it's deceptive. And if we don't pay attention, we don't know how it's slipping in. We don't know who's practicing it, right? Nowadays, everybody's fucking talking about it like it's fucking cool, and it's not, because it's very real, very dangerous. This man, as he's talking to me, he's telling me his stories. We end up leaving. This bird hops with us, and I'm tripping on this bird. So when we finally get to the point where we're sitting down at a little bench, and he says, "Can I pray over you?" He's holding me. I don't know what he's saying because he's not saying it out loud, but I could feel something different after it was done and over. So that ended, and there was no more to that. But I had an experience. When I had to look, see, what ended up happening was so many different things afterwards. This is something I haven't told you guys. I might as well share it because eventually you guys are going to know everything about me. Stuff I don't share with people, right? I don't share this stuff with people. Since I was a little kid, I've been able to close my eyes and see things. Like I didn't do nothing to try to make that happen. Just something that I've been capable of doing. Didn't know what it was. As I'm getting older, right now I'm bigger. I'm noticing, okay, what do I do if I do this? What do I see? I'm taking notes. I'm trying to figure out what is this about. So because I have this ability, all right, I'm gonna tell you guys more. I don't want to tell you guys, but I'm gonna tell you guys. I recognized before I knew about God, before I knew about angels, and let me include the word creator. When you listen to the gospel piece and you hear Yeshua speak about the creator, you will understand, you will feel that balance and that harmony, because it's Heavenly Father, earthly mother, the creator. I mean, there is no element left out. It's a male, the female, the man, the woman, right? Why do we need this? Because it's called balance, and we're out of balance. Yeshua spoke only in balance. You got to hear that whole thing for yourself so that you can feel for yourself what the words mean. I'm going to go more into just the parts and the details that it talks about in book 3, part 3, right? But getting back to the story. I had realized that I can help people in their soul. I can see people's soul. That's what I could do. I didn't want to say that, but I'm saying it, right. So I can see people's soul. I didn't go through no ceremony. I didn't go develop this. I didn't go to no classes. These are just things I've just always been able to do a lot of things, and just try to recognize what's going on throughout my life. I call it my bag of what the fuck, right? I got this big old bag, and it's like, what the fuck? And I just collect that piece of information, and I put it in my bag because I know one day I'm going to need it, because all these things happen to me, and I don't know where they were coming from. Right? I could close my eyes, sit on one side of a river, and this river is a small stream, not really a river, like a small stream of water. And on the other side of the water, I asked the person to come through the door, and the person don't even know I'm talking about them. The person don't even know. Meaning, I see an afflicted person. I see a person who has pain. I can't go say, hey, can I pray over you? No. I close my eyes. I ask them to come through the door. As I close my eyes, they walk through the door. And I'm saying this in my head. I don't say this out loud. And they sit on the other side of that water that's flowing. And then I ask them to come across that water. And what ends up happening is they're able to come across the water, but what is ailing them, what is afflicting them, which now I know is demons, right? Demons and spells and what else are these other things? Curses. All of these things is what I've been learning lately, because I'm working on becoming an exorcist, right? I'm working on becoming an exorcist because I fucking hate demons. Put those motherfuckers where they belong. They don't get help in healing because they're fucking creature kind that eat mankind. I'm not talking about a separated soul that's lost. That's not what I'm talking about, is a creature. I'm talking about a species of man man's biology, animal biology, and nanobiotechnology. Fucking creatures. These motherfuckers got to get moved out of the electric field and fucking out where they belong. That's what I'm talking about. So there's a misunderstanding. When they come across the water and come to my side, they have a sense of peace, like they just got out of water and they're catching a breath of air, right? Like they're drowning. So that sense of peace is that sense of relief. And then I can see whatever is left above that water and I'm able to move it out. Now the person doesn't know I do that for them. And then days later, they become a better version of themselves. And I can see it. Like I can see it. The unfortunate part is people end up going back to their old habits, old ways, because we don't know how to commit to Yeshua's way. This is what I've learned up until today. That if we don't commit to having a love the good with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. And that's for people who are not religious. For people who are religious, it's love God with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. Now, why do I say for the religious and not religious? Because good is God and God is good. It represents the same thing, period. And we got to get on that same page. There's so many people who hate the word of God, hate Yeshua for one reason. Because despicable things have been done in the name of God. And so people have the right to be bothered by it. So what we are not bothered by is the word good. Do we want to do good? Yes. Do we want to live good? Yes. Do we want to do good for others? Yes. Because that shit makes us feel fucking good. Because that's natural to our nature. So when I see that, or when I was able to see, let me go back and fix, because I'm talking about a lot of things, but it's the same thing. Because I'm capable of doing that, I have stopped doing that, looking at people's soul and helping people's soul, right? I'm always able to go in and see where a person's soul is at. I did that with this this Native American, this Native American, we're going to call him the chief, right? Because he was high ranking and up there. After he did the prayer and after I felt something not right and things not going good for me in my life, and me having to fight my mind, that's when I know I got something on me, because I have to fight so hard thoughts that are not mine. That when I said, let me go see what's on this man's soul that prayed for me, right? These are my beginning stages. It's not something that's happening now. Now I'm a different individual. Now I'm already set and fucking ready to go individual. My next step is to become an exorcist. Like, I want to move these fuckers out effectively. This is like way back, like 2018, 19, something like that, right? I go through that at 17. I'm trying to remember the years. Anywhere from 17 to 19. When I see this man, what ended up happening is something that's never happened to me before. So because I can go and I see what's on the soul of this man, this thing that was on this man was a being. It wasn't a dark cloud. You know, it wasn't something smoggy. It wasn't something that's inanimate on someone, right? Like a dark cloud that you move out the dark cloud. This was a being that looked like a Schmeagle. If you know the Lord of the Rings, you know Schmeagle, but in bigger form, like big manly form. And it turned around and fucking looked at me right in the eyeballs. That shit has never happened to me, ever. I can see, nothing sees me. I move things out. This fucking thing looked right at me in my eyes. I could feel it run through my whole body. And I was like, oh shit. I've never gone back and looked again. I'm not kidding. I never go look at nobody's soul no more. I don't pray for nobody like that. No, I don't help nobody like that no more because of that one experience. Native Americans, for me, it was like, boop, boop, move it to the side. What the fuck was that all about? Now I know what all that's about. That man who prayed over me had that spirit on him, and that was on me. Now, I have lived a lot of hard things on a consistent basis without deserving it. So when people fuck up, it's like, oh, well, you fucked up. You're on drugs. That's why you're homeless. That's why you're sleeping outside. No, I don't fuck up. I do the right thing for the right reason on a consistent fucking basis like a fucking soldier. And I keep getting fucking hammered because I got and had all these things on me. I'm highly psychic, like a lot of people are highly psychic, right? Because that's supernatural and it's natural to the nature of mankind. Yeshua, supernatural. Had supernatural abilities, came to tell us, you have it too, you do these things and greater. Because you are meant to heal one another, help one another, be balanced and well amongst one another. And it has been redirected, perverted by these fucking Canaanite creatures that are in this machine, developed by this machine. So this is not religious jargon I'm spitting right here. This is man against this fucking machine that has creature kind beings in here consuming the soul of mankind for this machine. Get offended if you're offended, right? But for all of those of you who have a piece of this pie, please bring it together so that we can form this pie and recognize what we're all seeing as individuals, as groups of individuals, that we are all here to do the right thing for the right reason, or this fucking machine's gonna fucking break us. So when I present these things to you guys, checking out the Gospel of Peace, Book 3, Part 3, and you listen, know for what reasons I'm asking you to listen, so that we can get a clue that we're getting information from outside this machine in here, so we can fucking get on the ball and catch the pattern and behavior. Follow the pattern of behavior that is good for the will of mankind, for its brethren, for one another. In that Gospel of Peace, when it says, it speaks regularly, Heavenly Father, Earthly Mother, the Creator, the holy angels, bless ye the law, and the law is on the heart. My children, whose heart is my law, meaning our heart has the law on it, because we know what is right from what is wrong. And these creatures do not have no sympathy. They have no remorse. They don't feel, right? Because they are a machine. For those of you who don't believe that we're in a machine or that this could be possible, look up nanobiotechnology in the food system. They're going to tell you why it's so great for you and for me, and how it helps us with getting all the nutrients where they got to go. Like if God, the Creator, didn't make this already 100% perfect. For those who don't believe in something outside of ourselves that is bigger than ourselves, you haven't lived long enough. You will. And then what ends up happening is you end up going to God. Yeshua's God. And when I say Yeshua's God, it's because Yeshua came to show the way. He was the last one. He made a sacrifice so that we can get through this machine. Because this machine works on legalities. This machine works on operations of code. And this is why there's so much code. When I say code, is land rights. They all want land rights. You know why the angels came to marry the women, right? So they can have offspring, legally own land, claim land like they're doing right now, right? And they're all fighting for positions. They're all Canaanites in different governmental positions, fighting for land and sacrificing mankind. Because we ain't fucking creature kind. Now, why are there fighters? Why are we built the way we're built, right? I was talking to Felix, and he made me think today. I'm not the kind of person that ends up with my mouth shut and is lost for words. It's just not me. But he did that to me today because he explained to me in simple words why we fight and how we fight, and there's no hatred in that fight, being a professional fighter, right? And him being a war veteran, there is no hate, but he's trained to go to war, right? Like a fighter, like a professional fighter is trained to go to war. So we've been trained to go to war in physicality so that we can prepare for the brutality that's amongst mankind, because the soft and the meek can't do it. So you have to have a front line, you have to have a sideline. Everybody got to take their position. But if you don't have the front line who can stand and has absolutely no fucking fear, because everything's already been put on them, they've already been tested. It takes a beast to beat a beast, and this machine is a fucking beast. And that's why there are fighters in the world. And that's why they do what they do, because our hearts can change. These creatures can't fucking change. The heart of a man can change. So if it's cold, it's brittle, it's frozen solid, it can always be warmed up with love. That's what I've come to recognize. We have the wild card. We have that ace. We have that ability to fucking change on a dime. And this machine cannot. This AI machine can only copy what man has taught. It cannot create, AI can't create an original thought, period. AI has to take our information, and then what it's able to do is speed it up, right? Multiplicity everywhere in an instant. And so we find it to be great. It is useful, but not when it's taking over our species. Not when it's taking over our soul and our bodies and our minds. Because if we keep on this fucking track that we're on, helping these Canaanites fulfill their mission of bringing up the third temple so that the creature beast can sit on it. Because Yeshua came to say no more of this. But yet we're doing more of it. And we're bringing more of it because it never fucking left. I say that to Christians and to Catholics. If you're with Yeshua, and I say this for those who are religious is what I'm saying. Follow Yeshua's way. Find Yeshua's words in the gospel of peace. Don't have fear to hear it. Now, the man who put this gospel of peace together, and others, authors who put the gospel of peace together, I don't like them. I don't trust them. Why? Because they're confused. They got their sauces all mixed up. They believe that the gospel of peace and the Gnostic gospels are the same thing, and they are not. Their Gnostic gospels are Luciferian in their nature, in their communication. You can hear it word after word. They use the same repetitious words, and you can follow and see the pattern. My next video is going to be on the influencers on YouTube mixing Luciferianism with Yeshua's way. I ain't having that shit. I'm calling you out, calling 2 people out, emailing them, setting it up. The reason why is because if we don't recognize it, we're going to be misled once again. Yeshua's words, Yeshua's ways overlaid with fucking Satanism. I ain't having it. I ain't doing it. I'm going to show you the words that Luciferians use in Gnostic gospel. They have a Gnostic Enoch, because there's Enoch from Cain, and then there's Enoch from Jared. Yeshua followed Enoch from Jared. Very fucking important. Makes a difference. One is wicked in his ways because it's creature kind. And it teaches Kabbalah. I don't care that people are mad. You'll see what's in the Kabbalah. It's witchcraft. Witchcraft is witchcraft. There are Canaanite Jews. There are Canaanite Aztecs. Meaning there's Canaanite Mexicans. I'm not putting a finger on people because of their culture. You know, this is because they're hidden everywhere. And I bring up the Mexicans because I am Mexicans, but I can still see the fucking Canaanites leading the way, setting us up. I'm starting with influencers so that I can prove my fucking point. And after that, it's going to go bigger. I'm very sure of it. We got some hard times coming up, and we got to get this shit organized. We got to get organized. people who are followers of the way. And that's love the good with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. Do unto your neighbor as you want done unto yourself. Heal the sick, because we're fucking dying of sickness and disease all over the fucking place. These are words of Yeshua. Cleanse the lepers. Why we gotta cleanse the lepers? Because look at our homeless. Our homeless are the lepers. I was one of those people. I was in the mix. I could fucking see it. Not because I was sick and ill, but because I was in their midst. I could see what they're going through, what they're suffering, what they're living. I was put in that circumstance. I didn't deserve that circumstance. I was fucking put there so I could see. Nobody can fucking tell me different. Raise the dead, because the soul of man is dying. And without the spirit, the fire inside, we fucking die. Then something takes over. What is that something? It's this AI fucking machine system. And the very last, cast out demons. Get those motherfuckers out. Fucking move them out so that your temple, your house, can be clear. That's all I got to say for today. It's 8:23. I'm doing better on my time. I'm trying to keep them under an hour. So you guys want to hear what I have to say, because I know we're short on time, right? We're short on time. My next video is going to be calling out these Luciferians, 2 specific ones. These fools are either confused and misleading people in the name of Jesus, right? Or they know exactly what the fuck they're doing, and I'm going to call them out. They can't respond to what I say. Let that be noticed to you, right? Let that be noticed to you. I called out Gary Wayne. I asked him to please, not to please. I said, can you claim Yeshua? He can't. But Gary Wayne can claim Jehovah, which means Lord. He can claim Lord. He can claim anything except Yeshua. In next week's video, I'm going to show you how Jesus is Jesus, meaning Jupiter, because we didn't say Jupiter. The Romans, Canaanite Romans, let me fix my words. Canaanite Romans who sacrificed humans, burning them alive and shit. That's Canaanite behavior. They worship Jupiter. But they didn't speak English back then. It was Latin. It was Jesus. And Jesus is Jesus. And Jesus is Jesus. And this is why when we're claiming Jesus, the good of the people who follow Yeshua are claiming Jesus, or so are these fucking Luciferians. And I'm going to show that next week. Take care. God bless. And be well.